Hello everyone, just before I start I'd like to quickly apologise because this video, its recording messed up and the actual video quality of this doesn't look great. So the review's there, I'm there talking about it, but it's not going to be to the normal quality, so I am very, very sorry for that. Hello everybody, I am Ace Creep and today I'm back with a brand new video. Today we are talking about episode 9 of series 11, It Takes You Away. Possibly one of the most hyped up episodes of this series. And was it a success? Was it amazing? Was it the 10 out of 10 that everyone was expecting? What's my opinion on that? We'll get to that. So pretty much you may be able to tell from my initial reaction and the way I'm looking and the way I'm feeling and the way I'm talking is that yes, I really did enjoy this episode up until one point, and you know what that point is. We're going to talk about it in a minute. I don't want to go through the story today, so instead we're going to just hop straight into characters, and then we'll talk more about my negative/positive feelings towards the end. So first, let's talk about the Doctor. I love the Doctor in this. Jodie Whittaker's doing an amazing job. Her performance, as ever, was on point this episode. She did a wonderful job. She really did do a wonderful job this episode. And I feel like the further we get on with this through the series, the better she's getting. The more enjoyable she's becoming as a character, and the happier I am to see her on screen as the Doctor. I really am enjoying her performance, and I feel like some of the faults people have with this series are nothing really down to the Doctor. There's a few people trying to pick stuff out, but really, she's on the level of Matt Smith in his first series, or David Tennant in his first series. I'm really enjoying this. It's quite hard to compare it to David Tennant in his first series, I suppose, because in David's first series, he had a big emotional thing at the end with Rose, which he had to build up to, and I think that was kind of important, and you know, that sort of thing. But I feel like, given what she's been given, I think she's done an excellent job, and I really like Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, and I really do value her as the Doctor. That's just my opinion, of course. You're all allowed your own, but I really like her. I think she's doing a great job. I want to talk about Graham by himself, opposed to the other companions first, because I think Bradley Walsh did an amazing performance in this episode. I think he can really do emotional, and to anyone who doubted him back in last October when Bradley Walsh was announced to be part of the TARDIS team, he's kind of laughing in their face now, because this guy is able to give off a really convincing and emotionally brilliant performance. This was no exception. Comparing it to the one in episode 1, there's no comparison. I mean, this is a ultimately superior moment for Bradley Walsh to show off his acting skill in that emotional field. Having Grace in that episode allowed him to work alongside her and have that more emotional aspect. And although I was expecting Grace to appear in this episode, it was still like a, oh my god type of moment when kind of she showed up on the screen. And I really liked that, and I really liked the way Graham dealt with that. I love how it connects back to Twice Upon a Time. A lot of you probably didn't pick this one up, but I connected it with the fact that Bill stated in Twice Upon a Time that what is anyone except just a bunch of memories? And that's exactly what Grace was in this. Grace was all of Grace's memories. Looked like Grace, sounded like Grace, was Grace, but she wasn't. And that was what crushed him, I suppose. And I think that's a really nice element connecting back to Twice Upon a Time, because you can connect that with the idea of that, you know, the dead are restored and having their memories alive. But not in this sense. This sense, her memories were being used for the wrong purpose. And that was a really clever play through that. And at first I was thinking, God, is it people who die appear here? You know, how's that sort of thing? Because Doctor Who's done that with loads of different things before, and that would have been a really interesting concept. But I'm glad they didn't go down that road, because it would have confused people a little bit more. Because you have death in heaven, and you have testimony, and you have all these different things that when someone dies they appear here, and there's loads of them in the Doctor Who universe now, because loads of different writers try and tackle that big subject. So I'm glad they didn't go down that route. I really like Graham, I really like Bradley Walsh, and I really like Grace, and it's a shame we didn't get longer with her, because I feel like I just love her as a character. I do feel this is a time to rest, though. I feel like after this we don't need to see her again. I don't think we will. But it also makes me think that I don't think Graham's going to die. The reason I think this is, I think, because it's a big moment for his character, and I think that you're too close now. I mean, because people are saying, well, he's going to last to the New Year's Day special, but will he die in the New Year's Day special? I don't think he will, personally. And that's just down to me. I don't feel like he will die in the New Year special, because it needs to go a certain kind of way, and his performance is come full circle in this episode, and he hasn't died. You know, the whole granddad thing we're all expecting to happen as Graham was dying or something like that, and that happened in this episode, and I really didn't expect it. And I loved it, and I really loved it, and it was a really heartwarming scene. So everything Bradley Walsh did in this episode, perfect. Ryan was great for the bits that he was in. Ryan and Yaz, again, kind of underused in this episode, but for good reason. There was a nice balance of that, and I really, really liked the fact that we didn't need that. We didn't need a massive scene with those two because they weren't important or integral to the story. I know you should have all the companions involved, but realistically, what more could they have done in this episode? Not that much, really. Ryan was, you know, in charge of protecting the blind girl, and I'm glad she really knocked him out. That was a bit different. I wasn't expecting that. But Yaz especially, I feel like I don't mind not having a Yaz-focused episode, and the reason for that is because we've had those now, and I feel like I know her character enough that I do actually care about her. So I honestly don't mind. I really quite like this episode in the character sense of things. Doctor Who casting a blind actress was a bold move, and I think it was a very good bold move as well. An excellent actress. She did a great job, as did the rest of the family. I think they really pushed that element of family, and I think that I'm glad the episode works in that sort of sense of it. It did work. It did feel good, and it did, you know, like work in that sort of sense of it, because you kind of had to have them there. I can't really talk much about them because I don't feel like they were developed too much as characters. They were, in my opinion, just here's your backstory, here's what happens, and that sort of thing. Moving away from those, I feel like Ribbons was pretty good. I like seeing Kevin Eldon, despite his role being practically a glorified cameo, as he did just die almost straight away. I quite like that sequence in the sort of, I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was sort of like a odd dimension, like kind of mine kind of thing. And I really like that idea. The episode opens up and it kind of treats it as like, oh, there's something roaming the woods coming out. No, there isn't. It's actually about this other universe, which is actually like in a cave of sorts. And then he goes, oh, right, okay, let's explore this cave, let's explore the nature of this cave. Joking, it's not that. It's actually this other thing, which is actually a parallel universe, which is actually an entity, which is actually loads of different things. And I really like that. I think that kind of worked. In that sense, I really, really liked that, and I think that was a very clever idea to go with, just flipping it every time we got about a good, decent width into the story, because it kind of felt like a few different stories crammed together, and I liked that, and that works for this episode. I felt like if we didn't have the mine sequence, then we would have wasted a lot more time on the parallel world, and it would have felt a little bit more dragged out. So I really liked all the different elements of that. But, yeah, saying all that aside, I did say I have some negatives about this episode. So this episode was pretty much perfect up to about the 40-minute mark, and then for me, the frog scene, I was really mixed on this, and I've watched it a couple of times now. I'm still not 100% sure on it. I just feel that with a scene like that, I was expecting something so much better. Doctor Who TV, it's kind of their fault for hyping it up and making it seem as if a big character was coming back. Because quite frankly, when it went into that thing, the situation was set up perfectly, and I was expecting it to be like, oh, Susan Foreman, or the song or something, as like an interface for this entity. And I was kind of expecting that a little bit, and when I saw a frog, I was a bit like, huh? It's a bit odd. But yeah, I think the frog is... It's a decent concept that works, it's a decent explanation that works. I'm just a bit lost as to why that was the choice gone. I don't think it's necessarily the worst thing in Who's history. I mean, we have had the Absorbaloff in the past. I just feel like they could have done a little bit better with this. I do like it, and I think this episode as a whole really, really does work. I was left with a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, feeling that they could have done something a little bit better at the end, but that's nothing, you know, I'm not a writer, that's not a major criticism. So overall, given that, and given the rest of the episode's general sort of gist of enjoyment, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it had a few little flaws and it dragged a little bit towards the middle, but overall it was a thoroughly enjoyable episode, and I think they did a really good job at creating it. So overall I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, comment below for any more suggestions in the future, subscribe if you haven't already, and yeah, check out the Patreon page, the donation page for the charity event that we're doing in just about 2 weeks time now. And yeah, we'll see you all later. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.